everybody. It is the Voodoo Doll from Noir Grimoire. I hope you guys are having an amazing March. It's the end of March, actually, so I hope that you guys had a really good March, and now we're marching forward into April, full ahead for spring. I couldn't be more excited. So today we're talking about getting unstuck. And I apologize if my eyes keep going all over the place. I'm recording horizontally and the camera is usually there, but it's here. So anyhow, get over the crazy eyes and just listen to the content that I'm giving you. Sometimes we get stuck in situations and we need advice, and there's no one around to give it to us, or the people that do give it to us give us wrong advice, and we're not listening to ourselves. So I sat down and wrote out a few modalities on how we can get in touch with the truth that we need from ourselves, asking ourselves first for what we want, asking ourselves for the solution to the problem, and then discussing our course of action with other people, not necessarily needing their opinion, just needing an ear. It's a lot better to come up with the solutions yourself than to always have to run to external sources for solutions to your own problems, because sometimes they don't know. I mean, you look at their life and maybe they've never been through it, or they're just not a supportive person. So this gives us a kind of a Bible, a little cheat sheet on how to get ourselves out of crisis, how to get ourselves unstuck, and how to keep moving forward, making wise decisions in our life. So the first thing we're going to talk about is called a Paris window. It could be called any type of window, a Compton window, a New York window, whatever window you want to call it. Don't get caught up in the name. It's just called a Paris window. And what that is, it is a square with 4 panes in it, symbolizing a window. So what we do is when we have a problem and we need an answer, we can use a Paris window. So those 4 squares, there's 3 things that we're going to write out and think about, and then the 4th square is blank because that's going to be our answer square. So it would look something like this. We have the 4 squares, 1, 2, 3, 4. And in a first square, it would be describe yourself or describe the problem. So imagine this square is someone else. This square is your therapist, and the therapist says, describe yourself or describe the problem. So let's say your problem is, I have a non-supportive child's father that I need to just cut all ties with and just, go through the motions of getting child support. I have an unsupportive partner that I have kids with. So that would be describing the problem. In the second square, you would put, how do others see you? Or how do others see your problem? And you try to put yourself into the shoes of others, maybe conversations you've had. Oh, well, my whole family thinks I'm stupid for staying this long. I should have left them a long time ago. In that square. How do you feel about how they feel in the third square? So how do you feel about how others see you, or how do you feel about how they feel about your problem? So if they feel that you're stupid and you should have left them a long time ago, you're going to write how you feel about that. So in the third square, I feel like it hurts my feelings that they think I'm stupid and they're not considering all the factors that are in place when leaving someone that you have children with. So in the 4th square, your answer to the problem. So what was the problem? The problem in the beginning was I have a partner that I have children with that I need to leave. So what is the solution? So you look at all of these. Well, how do you describe the problem? Partner, I need to leave, need to get out, but we have kids. 2, how do others see your problem? They think I'm stupid and I should have left a long time ago. 3, how do you feel about how they feel about your problem? I don't like it. I don't like them thinking that I'm stupid. So what is the solution to this problem? You don't like how the family thinks about you in this situation. You don't like your partner. So what are you going to do? I would say if it were me, I'm going to start taking steps forward in leaving this partner. I'm gonna tell my family what I'm doing. I'm gonna start actually doing it and not just talking about it. I may actually do a few things and then show them that I've actually done it. And that will satisfy my need for approval from my family, because we all need approval. And it will also put me in the right direction of leaving my partner. So I've killed two birds with one stone. I have kind of soothed over the relationship with my family by showing them that I'm making progress today. I'm really leaving this person. I'm not stupid. I do care about what they think. And the first problem was leaving the partner that wasn't good for you, but you have children. So that is how this works. There. The Paris window. Let's do another one. So describe yourself or the problem. The problem is I'm in a job that I hate and I can't stand it. I hate my job. Square number 2, how do others see you, or how do others feel about your problem? Well, they don't understand why I have the problem in the first place, because I have a master's degree. Okay, so 3, how do you feel about how they feel about your problem? Well, I feel like they're not supporting me, and I feel like they're not considering the fact that, yes, I have a master's degree, but I also have severe anxiety and I'm afraid of failure. So the 4th square, what's the answer to your problem? I am going to start working on my anxiety and my fears of moving on and fear of failure with a therapist. And then I'm going to start looking for another job when I have that confidence after going through psychotherapy or hypnotherapy. Now you have a plan of action of what to do. You're solving all of it. So you may not even have known that your trepidation or your procrastination is because you have a fear of failure. And it has nothing to do with your education. You're confident in your education. You're just afraid of failing. So by writing out these things in this Paris window, you're bringing out things to the surface, and you're able to move forward and solve some of those issues. So that's one tool we can use when we run into stagnation or problems that we can't seem to find an answer to. And the second one that we're going to talk about today is how to change negative triggers into positives. So this is what I mean by a trigger. A trigger is an emotion, it's a thought, and then it has a physical reaction in your body, a trigger. And I'm not talking about like a trigger where, someone's chewing food loudly and you can hear it and that's triggering you. I mean, you could use this for that as well, but we're really talking about emotional triggers here. So say your trigger problem is, I really can't stand a narcissist. I hate a narcissist, which I do as well. So you write down your trigger, either yours or if you're helping a friend, you write down the trigger. The next thing you want to know is the emotion it brings up and the percentage. So when someone says, if your trigger is, I can't stand a narcissist, what emotion does it bring up? Rage. Okay, so it brings up rage at what percentage? From 0 to 10. 0 obviously being the least, 10 being the most, 10.5. Okay, so we have the trigger, I hate a narcissist, the emotion, rage, the percentage is 10.5. So what next thing you want to do is, what is the automatic thought that is brought up when you have this trigger and it brings up the emotion? Now we want to talk about the thought. What's the thought? Oh, I think instantly about the 2 ex-boyfriends I had that were narcissists. So we write that down. Number 4, who is the wisest person you know on the planet, fictional or real? I don't care if it is, Captain Hook or something from the Pirates of the Caribbean. Who is the wisest person that you know? It could be, a vampire in a book. It could be Oprah Winfrey. It could be Harriet Tubman, whoever it is. It could be your mom. Who is the wisest person you know? So say this person says, the wisest person I know is Marilyn Monroe. Nobody's ever going to say that, but this is just an example. So they say Marilyn Monroe. Okay, so Marilyn Monroe is the wisest person you know. What would Marilyn Monroe do if she were in the trigger situation? You think about it. Well, she'd never be in that situation because she just moves on. As soon as a guy mistreats her, she has so many options. She just moves on. They don't even get a chance to fully, narcissist out on her because she just keeps it moving. You'd write that answer down. What would they feel after they made that decision? So after Marilyn Monroe said, oh, this guy's a narcissist, and she just moves on, how would she feel? Well, I think that she would feel very empowered, that she didn't waste her time, and she would feel like he's a loser, and she would feel like she's a prize, and she would just keep walking on and not even skip a beat in her day. Okay, so how would you feel if you did what Marilyn Monroe did? Well, if I did that, I wouldn't have been in the situations that I was in the past, and I would have only dated one narcissist. Whatever the answer is, you write it down. And it starts to lessen the trigger, because once that trigger comes up again, you're going to remember this exercise of changing your triggers. Like, think about it again. So after you've gone through all this, try to bring up the emotion of narcissist. I hate a narcissist. Hopefully that percentage will have gone from 10.5 to maybe a 4, because now you have a solution. The next time somebody gives you any inkling that they are a narcissist, you're going to evoke what Marilyn Monroe would do, and you will just move on. Even if you don't have any other options, it doesn't matter. They don't get any of your time, any of your energy. You make them feel like shit, like they are worthless, and just cut them off and move on and feel the power and the glory of that, and not even let it ruin your day. So that's how you deal with triggering emotions and changing triggers into positives. So go through every trigger that you have. So if you can think of 10 off the top of your head, write down all 10 and then go through the process for all 10. The process again is: number 1, write down the trigger. Number 2, write down the emotion it evokes and the percentage from 0 to 10. Number 3, what is the automatic thought? The first thing you think of when you think of that trigger, you write that down. Number 4, who's the wisest person that you know, fictional or real? Number 5, what would they do in the triggering situation? Number 6, what would they feel after making that decision? And number 7, what would you feel if you were to do that? If you were to do that very thing? And then you allow your body to feel all that, and then you go over it again. What's the triggering emotion? I hate confrontation, or whatever it is, and you go through all 7, and then you try to bring it up again and see what level you're at. And if you're still at a 7 or 8 or a 9, then maybe you need to pick a wiser person. Maybe Marilyn Monroe isn't your person, and you think about it again, say, you know what, I think I could find someone that can handle that situation a little bit better. I'm going to choose Oprah Winfrey. And then you go through it again, and then you feel a 2, then you know that's your person. That's your person that would handle that trigger the way that you would like it to be handled. And so you deal with that. So whenever that trigger comes up, you remember Oprah Winfrey, you know, she would deal with this. This is how she would handle it. And then you handle it that same way. And you should be able to really neutralize these triggers that we have and start getting this shit out of our bodies. Because when we have all this anger and unresolved trauma and resistance, it turns into body syndromes. It could be cancer, it could be ulcerative colitis, whatever it is, it turns into a body syndrome. It's the body telling you that the mind hasn't processed whatever is going on in the mind, so it goes into the body. There's a unbreakable connection between the two of those. So that is the second way to get unstuck and get out of these negative thought patterns about situations in our head. And then the third one, if you get into a fight with someone that you love, or someone gets into a fight with someone that they love, these are the 5 questions that you want to go over and ask. Now, if you're asking these to yourself, you'd write these 5 down. Number 1, what happened and how do you feel about what happened? So if you got into a fight with a sister or a family member about boundaries, whatever it is, what happens? Well, you know, I try to tell my mother I don't like it when she tells me how to raise my kids. And she freaked out on me and said that I must think that she's a bad mother then. Well, how do you feel about that? Well, I feel like she is trying to project on me to control me. And I stop telling her my boundaries when she tries to play the victim, and I'm tired of that. Okay, so number 2, what do you wish happened? I wish my mother would shut the fuck up and stop telling me how to raise my kids and say, you know what, I'm sorry, you're right, you're their mom and you're a great mom. Okay, 3, how would you have felt then? I would have felt so relieved that for the first time in my life, my mother apologized to me and that she recognized that I myself am not a child anymore. 4, what will you do next time? Next time, I'm going to stop my mother when she tries to play the victim when I'm creating a boundary. I'm going to finish creating that boundary. And if she's upset about it, I'm going to tell her I love her and I'm going to give her space to absorb it. I'm not backing down. Number 5, how will you feel then? I will feel very good that I established a boundary and that I am teaching my children by example of how to set boundaries and that it is okay to disagree with your parents. So that is how you do that when you get into a fight with someone that you love. So I'll read the 5 again. It is, what happened? How do you feel about it? What do you wish happened? How would you have felt then? What will you do next time? And how will you feel then? Those are the 5 questions that you want to ask when you get into a fight with someone that you love. So hopefully those 3 things make it a little bit easier for us to mitigate, break down any problems that we're having when we're stuck in a crisis, whatever it is. Also, that Wheel of Happiness video that I made, doing that as well and helping us to move forward. Now, there's part 2 to this video, but I'm going to put it in 2 videos. That way it's not too long. The next solution that we're going to be talking about is EFT tapping, meridian tapping, energy tapping, and that is the 4th and final step that you should do while doing all the other ones. So I will see you here in the next video. Bye.